President Bola Tinubu has appointed 8 special advisors into his administration. Dele Alake is the special advisor for special duties, communications, and strategy. Wale Edun is the special advisor for monetary policies, and former EFCC chairman Nuhu Ribadu will serve as the special advisor for security. Others are Yao Darazo, special advisor for political and intergovernmental affairs; John Uwajimogu, special advisor for industry, trade and investment; and Zacchaeus Adedeji, special advisor for revenue. While 2 female special advisors were among the 8 chosen: Olu Fehai Jen for energy and Salma Ibrahim Anas for health. Well, last week the Senate approved the president's request to appoint 20 special advisors.
Our Director of News and Politics editor, Sumner Sambo, joins us now to have a look at this subject. Thank you for joining us, Sumner.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the special advisors have been ruled out. At least some of them. We hope that others will be rolled out in the coming days and weeks. But then, when we look at the portfolios of some of these special advisors, it's beginning to look like there could be functions overlap. For instance, the one that's been most talked about, Nuhu Ribadu, special advisor on security. How is this different from National Security Advisor?
Well, basically, there's no difference. I mean, left to me from what we've seen previously on this specific office that's generating lots of uproar everywhere. I mean, a special advisor is a special advisor, irrespective of what people are making out of it. When the list of that of 2015 was sent by President Muhammadu Buhari, it was the same list that carried Femi Additional, all of them, special advisors. And it's the same thing that we are saying here. The fact that there is no appellation National Security Advisor there seems to me like a strategy because of the controversy that has been put in place, and mostly by some of these former military, officers who are insisting that the National Security Advisor should continue to be under their purview. And I can tell you that it's time to demilitarize the office of the National Security Advisor. Look at Jake Sullivan, for example, in the United States. I mean, is someone who has a degree in law, political science, and is the National Security Advisor of the U.S., the biggest world power at the moment. And you look at other people that have held that portfolio: Susan Rice, Condoleezza Rice,
No military background.
Brzezinski, and all of that. I mean, many of these guys were politicians, political, advisors, or people who were former diplomats and all of that. I understand the feelings that we've had. But look, in this country, we've got 2 former NSAs before. I mean, that were from the police.
And did very well.
Talk of Gambo Jimeta.
Right.
Talk of Alhaji Aliyu Ismaila Gwarzo. They all did very well. So I don't understand the agitation from some people that will have to continue to make this office look like it must be a preserve for the former military officers.
Right.
The one that just passed through right now, General Monguno, he has done very, very well. But I can tell you the majority of the experience he had was not even from the military. That's why you see how he's reformed the office of the NSA. Now, if President Bola Tinubu likes, he can still add another NSA to it. Because at the tail end of Buhari's government, you will see that he had a special advisor on security, different from the office of the NSA. Right. But also, nothing stops President Bola Tinubu from continuing with Nuhu Ribadu as his national security advisor. If that's just the thing, look at Dele Alake just
let's
quickly.
Look at, that's what we want to get to. I mean, let's talk about whether there are round pegs and round holes. So Wale Edun, for example, I mean, a lot of people have been expecting before now that he may be named as Minister of Finance. That's
or even
CBN governor. So what exactly do you think is playing out here?
What I think is playing
and
out
is
is
it
that
round peg and round hole.
These are even temporary.
We need to establish that.
These are even temporary portfolios, and all these people that have been nominated, very excellent people, people who fit the bill, who understand what it's all about. Talk about Wale Edun, for example, with all he's done. With the private investment bank that he heads in Nigeria. I mean, it's just you can't get anyone better than him at the moment in
Of
terms
course,
of within Tinubu's circles. I mean, he's one of the very best brains that we have. Talk about investment banking across the country. So he actually fits the bill. And my thinking is that he's actually holding a temporary portfolio. And most of these people that Tinubu is putting, they're actually holding temporary portfolios because, to me, they are more than qualified to even hold the office of special advisors. But you know that it's a cabinet-level position. The office of the special advisor to the president, it's equal in terms of operations to a ministerial position. And so if he feels that they should stay in place before he gets his full cabinet, the ministers coming in place after being screened and cleared by the National Assembly, I think it's a very good one because they don't need any screening by the Senate. You talk about other people.
Dele
Alake,
yes.
Institute, journalist.
He was the one who added strategy to
I remember having a conversation with him. He told me how that position was added. He told Bola Tinubu that if I would want to be your commissioner in the Lagos State Cabinet, you would have to add strategy to it. So he became Commissioner for Information and Strategy. And he brought a lot of dimensions, a lot of innovations into that portfolio. And that's what we expect. And you can see that my thinking is that President Bola Tinubu has expanded his scope. He wants someone that he can consult, sends around on different issues
on different assignments.
That's why he added special duties to it, so that whoever he sends Dele Alake to wouldn't treat him just like just as a media advisor. So, and not just someone who talks about media, someone who is a communications expert who understands how to, promote government policies, say the president's minds on issues and what the president has asked him to say. So he's going to play more than a critical role. Look at him today receiving former head of state, General Abdulsalam Abubakar, with, President Bola Tinubu. That tells you that he's going to play a role that is much more than what we used to know. That is special advisor on media and publicity, like Femi Adesina held.
Interesting. We appreciate your insight, Sumner. Now, we've been talking about reducing the cost of governance in our report over the days and weeks. Now, we're beginning to see a situation where the new president, President Tinubu, may have a long list of special advisors and other cabinet members. How can this impact on his decision to make real change in our fiscal condition in Nigeria?
The reality is that Tinubu has to innovate in governance. And that's why I take you back to the issues of the NSA that people are talking about. It's time for us to start looking at tinkering with institutions. Some of the things that then military head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, did in the security circles are some of the things that have made us to still have our institutions working for us. When he got into power in 1985, by 86, he had dismantled the old NSO, National Security Organization, and he brought in the DIA, brought in the NIA, and then he also brought in what we have as the SSS and being called the DSS now, in innovative ways, looking at people who could help guide national security in several ways. And that's what I'm beginning to see, that it looks like Senator Bola Tinubu, well, he's the president now, President Bola Tinubu is going to tinker with the architecture of governance to help save costs and to help put people who have the capacity to actually run government, a lean government, but with wider impact. Because if we continue to run a big government, we'll run into trouble. Look at the guy he put in revenue. I mean, he's an excellent guy, a first-class graduate of accountant. He's held positions in Oyo State. He was at the National Sugar Council. Did very, very well. And look at the other people that he has on the team. The other person who's the advisor on health, she was an advisor in Borno State. And then you look at Yildarazo. I mean, he was in the villa with Buhari and then now an excellent political advisor. What I can say now is that people who are given positions should put patriotism ahead of them. Let's deliver. Before the ministers come, these special advisors should help to re-engineer governance, help to give the president the best advice on how to save costs, And you look at people like, I'm talking about
two ladies there. I would like you
yes,
to actually address that point.
yes, that lady.
Is it reflective of
when I saw her on the morning show with our crew, I mean, our Lagos colleagues the other time, talking about, you know, the politics of the oil economy that we're in. The other time, I was very impressed with her credentials because this is someone who has done a lot of advisory for lots of people. Can't you see that ExxonMobil of recent put a lawyer and a woman to actually be giving advice to them? ExxonMobil. This shows that we have to go outside of the thinking of traditional ways of arranging our government. And if these are some of the things that Bola Tinubu will do, we hope that it will help to create the next 20 or 30 years of government reforms that will help us
Would
grow.
it be too early to begin to ask the question as to giving every segment of the country that sense of belonging in terms of reflecting?
That is going to happen not under the special advisors, but under the ministerial appointment, because the ministerial appointments are taken.
It's already a given.
Yes, it's been settled by the country's constitution. But what we are looking out for right now is that the president of Nigeria should begin to look for the best experts that can help to handle the issues for us. Within his special advisor circle, he's allowed to play, I mean, a lot of them, you would have seen some people who he has worked with, coming majorly from the south and then southwest. That's because when it comes to those appointments, it has to do with someone you know, that you trust. But of course, you have to be sensitive.
But it was an issue. It was an issue when Buhari actually made that point. That,
because he did
I'm appointing the people that I know.
When you go outside the purview, you know, you won't understand the full composition of the cabinet and the government now until all appointments have been made. So it is when you have all appointments that you can now see the thinking of the president and either accuse him of nepotism or not. But one of the things that I'm saying that Bola Tinubu is going to be accused of is that he's going to have lots of technocrats close to him, and some of the politicians in the APC may get very angry because it may look like a situation whereby the president is preparing either to be a one-term president that gives the nation good reforms.
Excellent one-term president.
Or if he allows politics to prevail and he plays some politics of, you know, putting too many politicians, then we'll begin to read his body language that he's already working towards 2027.
Okay, Sumner, you know that one thing you cannot take away from President Tinubu is his ability, his talent to identify potential. I mean, you know, so we have to give that to him. Now, can't he marry both? Both. What I mean is appointing technocrats and at the same time settling his politicians. Is that no? Can't there be a happy medium?
There are so many appointments that you can use to do that. Boards appointments are there. I mean, Nigeria, there are lots of institutions. But how he juggles this will also let us know how he's preparing the APC for the 2027 elections. Don't forget, Chief Bisi Akonde was at the villa.
Already talking about the need to reform the APC.
Reform the APC. APC needs to be reformed because some of the organs of the party are not working. And that was some of the problems that Buhari left for Tinubu, and which he has to use as experience. And I think if he's able to bring all the former APC national chairman, he'll be able to resolve that easily because the APC has a governance structure problem. That's why they don't have a proper board of trustees in place. They call it National Advisory Council because some people didn't want Tinubu, to actually be the board of trustees chairman.
And very quickly,
they played all sorts of politics
30 seconds if we can. He's been meeting a lot of people. He met Sanusi, former CBN governor, the 16th Emir of Kano today. And of course, 14th or so. Right. I mean, former Emir.
I mean, the president is for everyone.
He's been meeting Kwankwaso, meeting this, meeting that. Is that painting a picture of...
Yes, consultation. A lot of us are actually taken aback because I had expected, for example, like the issues of the presidential spokesman, that should have been settled. I was wondering, I was a bit bothered. I was like, why is Tinubu not appointing at least a presidential advisor on media and communications on time? But apparently it looks like he was still consulting and all of that. And also, I had expected that once this list of 20 advisors was approved by the Senate, that immediately the next day it will be, the list would have been prepared. But we are not seeing that. So I'm beginning to see Tinubu from a different light, from the kind of Lagos politician that he was and Southwest politician that he was. I'm beginning to build himself into a president. Now, a president has to be someone who receives advice from the north, from the east, from the west, and from the south, and everywhere. But we've been seeing lots of people who gave him votes from the north trying to come and see how they can lobby for positions and all of that, advise him on the quick things to do. But what I will ask him to do is to try to see how the issue of government of national unity that he talked about, he's able to bring some politicians close. If he's able to do that, it could help drive a new narrative of peace, of reconciliation, of healing, irrespective of what is in the court.
Fantastic.
But I can tell you that Tinubu's thinking right now seems to be nationalistic, because he's listening to his advisors, which I think is good. But what would happen between now and the next 100 days is what we will use to judge his next 2 years, hopefully, before he joins a cabinet. He's not like a Buhari who holds people till the end.
No,
we're waiting for the first 100 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sumner Sambo, Arise politics editor, joining us.